Hey everybody, so I'm back with my second part of my Makeup Geek Collections video. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right into everything. So first I wanted to talk about my brushes, since those are, not gonna require any swatches and that's gonna take up less time. The first brushes I wanted to talk about were these three face brushes. This is the face buffing brush, which is like the round top, and then they have the foundation stippling brush and the angled stippling brush. Obviously, these two have flat surfaces, just the one is angled. These are really densely packed brushes, so they're really good for applying foundation, anything like that where you need something that's got a lot of hairs in it. The other face brushes I have are these four here. I have the angled contour brush, the rounded blush brush, which I actually like to use more for contour than blush, and then this is the chiseled cheek brush, which is like one of the flat, sort of thin brushes, very similar to the NARS ITA or the Real Techniques contour brush that's also kind of like that. And then I have the cheek highlighting brush, which is like a duo fiber type of brush. All of the face brushes are like really pretty densely packed. They apply a lot of color, so you have to be pretty careful. You don't need a lot of product on the brush to actually get an application. They're all synthetic brushes, although these two especially have almost like a natural hair sort of feel. They're like the bristles themselves are a little bit coarser, which is really good for blending. I've found smoother bristles just don't do the job quite the same. This one, like I said, is very similar to the NARS ITA brush, but it is a little bit more dense. It's not as fluffy, but I think that it feels nicer. The bristles on the NARS ITA brush are a little bit more coarse and rough feeling, and it sheds like nobody's business. I don't know if that's actually making it worse on my skin. I haven't noticed any problems with it yet, but I have noticed a lot of shedding with that brush. I don't know if it's it's probably because of the way it's bound in there, but so I really like this one just because it doesn't shed, and like I feel like I'm keeping all of my bristles, which is nice. I've also got all sorts of eye brushes. I believe I own every eye brush they've ever come out with, but I might be wrong. I can't really check that because they've discontinued some things to be remade and such, but the first one is the soft dome brush, which is sort of like a slightly more tapered version of like the Sigma E35, I want to say is E40. It's very similar to the E40 because it's like a fluffy sort of tapered brush, but this one's just a tiny bit more pointy on the end, if you can see, and it's a little bit thinner. So it just gives you like a little bit more of a precise application. The other one is the defined crease brush, which is very similar to the E35, which is what I was trying to say earlier, except for, again, it's just a little bit more tapered and a little bit smaller, so it really gets in that crease, especially for people who are like me, have like semi-hooded to hooded eyes. It really gets in that crease in there. Just get like the product on the very tip of it and put it in there. You can do a really good cut crease with this as well. I've also got the pointed crease brush, which is like a more dense eye brush. I don't have anything similar to this one, so I can't even say what it would be like, but again, this is like a really good brush for getting into the crease because it's pointed, but because it's so dense, it's also really good for like blending out the outer V or blending in the crease. It's a really good blending brush. I've got the, what is this one? The smoky eye brush, which like it says is good for smoky eyes. It's gonna give less of a precise crease, so it's really good for blending in the crease if you're doing something really smoked out or just very blended. The outer V brush, it says it's for the outer V, which you can use it for, but I find it's pretty similar to the smoky eye brush. It's just a smidge smaller as far as like how wide across it goes, so you can use that one for the crease as well. It's just going to be less blown out. The small crease brush, which is great for getting your like little detail, like if you want to get like a very intense outer V sort of thing going on, or like along the lash line if you were doing like a smoked out winged liner or something like that. And then the pencil brush, which is a completely unique pencil brush because it is so small and so dense. It's not fluffy, it's not gonna go everywhere. So you really can just put the color exactly where you want it. Like you could probably even do eyeliner with this brush because it's so dense and so precise in application. But I really like it for under my eyes as well because I don't like to blend out too far under my eyes, just because I have a lot of space up here, and if I go up here and down here, my eyes just end up looking kind of crazy. So the other two brushes are the dual-ended brow brush, which has a spoolie on this end, which is a really nice spoolie actually. It's really smooth. It doesn't feel like it's ripping my brow hairs out or anything like that. And this angled brush, which is kind of like a basic angled brush, nothing particularly different about it, but it is really good for doing like the tail end of your brow and really precise. You could probably even do gel eyeliner with this one if you like an angled brush, because it's still pretty thin. And then the bent liner brush. This one for me took a little getting used to, just because I usually use an angled brush, kind of like the brow brush usually for my liner, but I like this one a little bit better for getting the point, just because it has such a precise tip on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it has such a precise little tip on it that you can really just get like the sharpest wing with it, which is really nice. And because of the angledness of it, you can get over your lashes with it, especially if you like super long lashes, or if you've already put on your falsies and you're like, oh, I gotta get a little bit of gel eyeliner in there. You just get right up above those lashes. So that's kind of nice. You can reach around them. So yeah, that's all the brushes. Like I said, they're all synthetic. She likes to do everything cruelty-free, and so that's nice. And they are really easy to wash. They don't cling to product like some of my other like more natural hair brushes and stuff like that can do. I found that they don't shed too bad. You know, stray hair here and there isn't unheard of in any brush, so, but they do keep their shape nicely. So overall, I'd say the brush line, if you see something that you don't necessarily have in your collection, or you were looking to try maybe like a different sort of application, like I know the crease brushes are completely unique for the most part. They're not very similar to anything else that I own. So I didn't feel like when I bought these that I was just getting a second or third or fourth version of the same brushes I already had. I feel like they're really special, really unique. So yeah, I definitely say give them a try. They're good quality, and the price point, you really can't beat it for the quality of these brushes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into doing the pigments. I know that they're discontinuing some pigments, and they're actually about to come out with new duochrome pigments, so I'll keep a lookout for those and do maybe a swatch video of the duochromes. But these pigments are all the pigments that they've had so far. Some of them have been discontinued and some of them are on their last leg. So if you see something that you really like, make sure to check it out and see, you know, if it's going out of stock. You might want to grab it up before it goes. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just do swatches. The swatches are over a glitter adhesive because especially some of the chunkier ones don't stick to the skin exactly when you place them. So just bear that in mind. That's pretty typical for pigment. And yeah, let's do the swatches.
This is the old packaging. They're doing completely away with it, but as you can see, it's just an open container. The new packaging has a sifter on it, and that makes it a little bit more convenient.